Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
So, I was making a belt out of herbs, and you know what my friend told me?
What did your friend tell you?
That it was a waste of time.
Time as the herb.
As the herb,
All
yes.
right.
So the joke of the week is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests like insects, wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Now, Holly and I, are in the industry of gardening. We garden. We've gardened for many years. And we know things that are, common, we think is just common knowledge. However, we get questions on a regular basis of, hey, I'm growing this. When is the right time to harvest it? Because I'm a new gardener. And that's fine. Educational, being educated and doing it correctly is what you need to ask. Hey, I don't know how to do this. How you do it? So we're going to go over a handful of popular vegetables and greens in which you would want to know, hey, I'm a new gardener. I planted it. I did everything I'm supposed to do. When do I know when to harvest it?
This is very important because, as Joey had mentioned, you do all this work and you want to know. So,
and you want to get the most out of it. If you wait too long, it's going to spoil. If you harvest it too soon, you've lost the potential of what it could be.
Yeah. So one is like a lot of people grow leaf lettuce or salad lettuce or salad leaves, whatever. Salad greens, that's the word. So you want to harvest them when the loose leaves appear young and tender, and they kind of form almost like a full, like a heart, or like the two leaves kind of look like a heart. So they have, they look like a nice leaf, not just a tiny little leaf. Does that make sense?
They're filled out.
Yeah, they're filled out. There we go.
And whenever you harvest these are typically cut and come again, meaning you can cut them and they will regrow. What you want to avoid is cutting them down to ground level. You really want to cut them about 2/3 the way up the leaf. That gives the plant plenty of energy to absorb sunlight and regenerate new growth. If you cut it at ground level, thinking I'm going to get the maximum leaf out of it, which you can if you just want to do one and done, but by cutting it down to the ground, it takes so much more time for that plant to regenerate the energy it needs in order to grow the leaves that you will lose out on that second or third harvest.
Right. So I want to touch on root vegetables because these are, I think, the hardest or harder to determine if they're ready to harvest. Obviously, you need to see some top growth. And I think that newer gardeners feel weird about pulling out one of the sample harvest, whatever. And that's what a lot of people have to do. So what you would do is you would just choose one, pull it out and see what happens. Sometimes you can even just kind of go around the top, especially like beets. You can see, kind of how wide a beet's going to be. Carrots, a lot of times the crown will poke out of the soil. Radishes, most radishes grow within 30 days, so you can go by that timeline. They're not typically going to get much bigger after that, and if they do, they're probably not going to be good.
Well, the beets thing, you got to thin your beets, otherwise they come in cluster seeds. You're not going to have any bulb development because that seed has like 5 or 6 tiny seeds in it. So if you don't thin them out at the time that they are like 2 or 3 inches tall, you're not going to have any beets whatsoever. And carrots typically take 60 to 70 days, give or take. So you also want to have that kind of time frame in mind, so you're not pulling a carrot at 45 days when it's still got 30 days more to go.
Right. And then potatoes, the foliage will die back. It'll turn brown, even if it's not fully brown.
When it starts dying,
brown,
you can go ahead and harvest
it.
Yep.
And that's something that you do want to use a garden fork versus a shovel if you can. If you have a garden fork, it's better for harvesting. Allows
the soil to fall through, and if you stick a potato, you can utilize that one pretty quickly in a dish. Avoid with a shovel, you're gonna hack it in half.
Right. So then beans, you want to make sure that they are about pencil width in diameter.
These are edible pod beans, not the hard shell beans. Yeah,
they're going to be usually like a bright green. They're kind of firm,
yellow or purple.
Yeah, and you don't want to see seed bulges. So if you can see the inside of the seed, kind of bulging out, then they're a little bit overripe. So you kind of, if you're like, I'm not sure, the pencil size is probably
right. Beans are forgiving because you can harvest them small, like cucumbers, and they're going to continue to produce. So that kind of gives you a safety net that, I picked it too soon. Not a problem. Give it another 2 weeks. You're going to have another whole batch of beans or cucumbers on your vine.
One thing I wanted to say is it's ideal to harvest first thing in the morning. I know this is not always the best time for everybody, and I totally get that, but they say that it does provide for the best flavor to harvest first thing in the morning.
The plant is less stressed. Yeah. It's been cool and hydrated overnight because of the dampness in the air. So, and now tomatoes is a big one. When do you know to harvest tomatoes? Well, from the time the tomato by the time you see the flower to the time the fruit is ready to pick, it's 30 days for the beefsteak, 20 days for the cherry. If the tomato is starting to change color, they change from the bottom and work their way up around the fruit and up to the shoulders or where it connects to the plant, you can go ahead and harvest it. As long as you see pigmentation change at the base of that tomato, you can harvest it, bring it indoors. You also want to harvest your tomatoes prior to, if you've not been watering regularly, prior to a rain, because they're fine now. They've been stressed. They need water. It rains. They suck up all that water and they start cracking or actually busting open because they suck so much water up. The skins cannot expand to accordingly, and they bust open.
Right. So then let's talk about peppers. You can tell when they change from green to red or yellow, which indicates the peak flavor. You can harvest them when they're green. That's no problem. Or you can wait, whatever. If they're hot peppers, when they are that whatever color they're supposed to be, that means that they're at their peak spiciness. So if you're growing a jalapeno, it's not usually going to turn any other color but green. They're red jalapenos.
They're red ones if you let them wait long enough. And if you want it hotter, cut the water off on it. Stress that plant out, and they will get a higher capsaicin rating. But peppers are kind of on the other side. You can leave them on the vine as long as you want, and they will change color. You can harvest them, whatever variety of pepper you've got, whether it's a Hungarian Swede or a bell pepper or anything. You can harvest them pretty much any size, but the longer you leave them on, the larger they're going to get. So that's kind of a forgiving one too. What you kind of get in the danger zone is the turnips, rutabagas, carrots, that type of thing, where you can't see, and once you've harvested, you can't shove it back in the ground and go grow some more.
Right. Right. That's very true. So winter squash. So this is like your butternut, acorn, patty pan. No, not patty pan. Yeah. Patty pan is a winter squash. Pumpkins. Things like that. You want to, when the stem is thick and woody, and then when the skin is resistant to fingernail pressure. So the skin kind of becomes tougher, essentially. That's when you know.
Yeah, when you push your fingernail in and it doesn't allow the fingernail to penetrate the skin, then you know it's ready to go. Or the other thing is, it's been growing and frost is coming tomorrow night, like a hard frost. It's going to kill the plants, or a freeze. It's time to harvest everything you got, regardless if it's technically ready to go or not, because a squash that gets frozen outside and then thaws, that's compost material.
Right.
Walton's Inc. has what you need, and they are a sponsor of today's program.
We are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. Listen, we know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At waltonsinc.com, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's has their website, meatjuststicks.com. It's an informational site to make you the best finished product. And they have a full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's, everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.